In Amina, after being let go from her robotic companion startup, Beck, played by Sydney Chandler, an antisocial engineer, finds herself in the offices of a new company claiming to preserve a person's consciousness inside a cloud system. Her first assignment: drive the company's most valuable client, Paul, played by Takehiro Hira, a lonely button manufacturer, to his final appointment. Amina is directed by Brian Tetsuro Ivier, and this is his first narrative feature, but he has directed documentaries such as The Drop Box and Emmanuel, and Amina just debuted at the 2026 South by Southwest Film Festival. Amina, for me, felt like, have you ever watched a TV series and you watch the first episode and it's like it introduces all these characters and all these themes and all these confusing plot elements, and you're thinking, okay, it's okay, we have another 7 episodes or another 9 episodes to go, so in the future in this series we'll find out what's going to happen, and it will come together. And that's kind of what it felt like watching this film. You're watching the first episode or the last episode of a TV series and you're not quite sure what's happening. But unfortunately, this film is not a TV series or a pilot for a TV series. It's a film, and it's a frustrating film to watch because it just almost every scene it just raises more questions that never really get answered. And this film is basically a road trip, like drama comedy, and Sydney Chandler, she's in her maybe late 20s, and she gets this job. She has to this company, they put the consciousness of a person, they copy the consciousness of a person, and they put it into a cloud system, and then I guess their friends or family can access this cloud anytime they want, and they can talk or interact with the copy of this person. And Sydney Chandler has to transport Paul, played by Takehiro Hira, from his home to this the office of this cloud system company. And along this road trip, Takehiro Hira, Paul, I'll call him Paul he has like a list or like people he wants to visit or places he wants to go on this road trip before he, I guess, passes away, because he has this terminal cancer, and so this is his final chance to talk to all the people he wants to see before he copies his consciousness and passes away. For me, I think the main reason, the positive thing for me about this film is the relationship between Sydney Chandler and Takehiro Hira. They really bounce off each other very well, but unfortunately they don't really have much to work with. Their characters are very, very underdeveloped. And I have many questions that I have for this film, and I'll get to those later. But there's many emotional moments, especially in the second half of the film. There's some very emotional moments between Takehiro Hira and some of the other people in the film, and also Sydney Chandler after she has transported Paul to his destination. There's some emotional moments with him, but both of the characters are very, very underdeveloped. So those emotional moments later on in the film don't really hit home, especially for me. But I have many questions. Like, this film is, I guess, set in near distant future, where you can copy someone's consciousness into the future. But this film has like a retro look and has technology that is not even used today. It's used in the past. Like, it's very old cars, and people listen to CDs, and it's just. And some people don't know what smartphones are. It's just, I don't understand why. What is this supposed to be set in some kind of alternative reality? But that's not really explained to us as a viewer. And Paul, played by Takehiro Hira, he seems to be a Japanese man, but why is his first name Paul? Why he has like family and work colleagues that are Japanese, but why is he living in America? It's just, and why, like, he seems to be like the CEO or owner of some button manufacturing company, but why is he in America? Why is he not in Japan? I just don't understand. And throughout the film, Sydney Chandler takes him on a road trip, and he meets several people. He meets, I think, an old friend or old work colleague played by Tom McCarthy, and there's this really strange scene where Tom McCarthy invites them to like lunch or dinner, and Paul like says, "Oh, I had sex with your wife," and then he leaves, and it's like a very strange scene. And then later on in the film, we find out Takehiro Hira had a family that he abandoned. The mother, played by Lily Taylor, and she doesn't want him to see his long lost son, and that whole scenario isn't really explained. And that's why I think this film felt like a pilot to a TV series that we don't really get. Like there's so many answers in this film that are raised that never get answered. But as I said before, the relationship between Sydney Chandler and Takahiro Hira is quite good. They really bounce off each other quite well, and their performances, even though they don't really get much character development to go off with, they do try their best. And the sci-fi elements of this film really feel quite undercooked. And this like cloud-based copying system is not really explained very well. And why towards the end of the film we see a scene between Cindy Chandler and her mother, and I guess it's kind of implied that her mother is already in this cloud system, and that's how she's interacting with her. And then but also Cindy Chandler, she's kind of like handhunted by this cloud system company to work for them. But why is she having to transport Paul from his home to this office? It doesn't make any sense, because she's just driving him and she doesn't really have any qualifications, and it just, I don't understand why anybody couldn't have driven him. I give Anima 2 stars out of 5. This has a nice relationship between Sydney Chandler and Takahiro Hira, but unfortunately their characters are very underdeveloped, and this film is as well, the whole thing is very undercooked. The sci-fi elements of this film just are very undercooked, and it just raises so many questions that really never get answered. It's just scene after scene after scene. It's just what's going on, what right relationship does anybody have to each other. It just kind of feels like a TV pilot to a film, to a TV series that never really eventuated. So unfortunately this film was a bit of a disappointment. Thanks for watching. What do you think of Anima? Please comment below what you thought of the film. See you next time. Bye.